A very good Monday afternoon to you and welcome to Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. I'm your midday host, Julie Grant. The highly anticipated trial out of Brunswick, Georgia is happening. Jury selection set to begin in just about 1 hour from now for the trial of the 3 men who are accused of killing jogger Ahmaud Arbery. Defendants Gregory and Travis McMichael, father and son, and their neighbor William Roddie Bryan are facing 9 charges in Arbery's shooting death, which happened on February 23rd of 2020. Now, this morning, the court heard several different defense motions argued, including a request to prohibit recording the audio of prospective jurors. Let's get an update on that motion, as well as the jury selection process and what is happening so far in Brunswick. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Shanley Painter. She's standing by for us with the details. Shanley, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Julie. There's a lot going on outside this Glenn County Courthouse and inside, of course, the Glenn County Courthouse. Jury selection set to be underway today. Now, this morning, a group of about 600 prospective jurors showed up at a location not here at the courthouse, but down the road for social distancing purposes. But as we just heard Judge Walmsley say, they will return in groups of 20 here to the courthouse this afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern for that general voir dire, of which the attorneys and the judge worked out a lot of those questions they will be asking them in that general voir dire process underway this afternoon. But outside the courthouse, I want to take you there because it's been busy. A lot of hustle and bustle around this courthouse. In fact, outside, you can't see behind me, but I know that we do have a live look in front of the courthouse. You can see the transformative justice. Let's listen.
Justice here in Brunswick, Georgia for Ahmaud, but they also want Ahmaud's legacy to be one that finally helps get the anti-lynching law passed in the United States of America.
Yes.
Where the spirits of Emmett Till and the spirit of Ahmaud Arbery can rest in power. Thank you.
And what you've heard so far, Mr. Arbery, what were your thoughts?
Focusing on justice. Our family focusing on getting justice.
Yes.
That's all we want. We want justice. When we get justice, my son can rest in peace, and my family can rest. Till then, we ain't gonna get no rest.
How's your faith in the system as of now?
Well, we're focused on justice. We understand that this case is eerily similar to that of Trayvon Martin, another young African-American who was shot and killed by a citizen. The difference between Trayvon Martin and Ahmaud Arbery is there's video in Ahmaud Arbery, and we expect full justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
Amen.
Mr. Arbery, being in the courtroom just now, how does it feel to be back in there, and what are you feeling right now?
Emotional.
Thank you.
Look out. Thank you. Let's go straight this way, y'all.
All right, so another impromptu press conference really from Benjamin Crump there, and then Ahmaud Arbery's father, Marcus. That was live right now as they go to the lunch break. They just left that courtroom where the judge was taking up some motions, but outside there in the courthouse, the Transformative Justice Coalition has brought in what seems like about 100 or so people sitting outside in front of the courthouse. At times, even where I am sitting, I can hear them chanting throughout the morning. They're, of course, paying attention to what's happening inside the courthouse, but all here as demonstrators to show support for the family of Ahmaud Arbery. There was a march yesterday, and they have events, Julie, every day this week after court is over to follow this case and, of course, support what's happening.
Right. We know we saw in that press conference civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump with Ahmaud Arbery's father, Marcus Arbery. And I wanted to ask you, Shanley, I know that you mentioned speaking with them earlier today. I wanted you to share with our viewers here at this hour what they shared with you ahead of the trial beginning.
Sure. Thank you, Julie. So this morning I was able to speak with Marcus Arbery and his attorney, Benjamin Crump, and ask how they were thinking and feeling today, day one of this huge trial. And Marcus Arbery told me that they were focused on justice, and Ben Crump went on to say that it's you can't lynch a black man in 2021 and just sweep it under the rug, is what he told me at that time. And in solidarity, they've been, of course, walking to and from this courthouse behind me, speaking to the media and making sure that the story is told about Ahmaud Arbery's life and what they hope to get out of this case. In fact, let's listen to a little part of an impromptu presser they gave a little bit earlier this morning.
How you prepare yourself for that?
Prayer.
Right.
God.
Oh,
God
yes.
gave me the strength.
Amen.
So we already know what went on.
Amen.
We know it's wrong. We know it's a
Amen.
racial killing. So
Amen.
I give all glory to God, and God gonna get the big rod of glory. Amen.
And I will say this, no matter how much they try to assassinate the character of Ahmaud Arbery, we know that's the playbook since Trayvon Martin, and it's just eerie how similar
Yes.
the allegations are when you think about Trayvon Martin to Ahmaud Arbery. This whole notion where private citizens say black young men look suspicious, and we gonna take the law into our own hands and detain him. Where the difference between Trayvon and Ahmaud Arbery is there was no video for Trayvon Martin. There's a video for Ahmaud Arbery, and we expect justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
And justice is what they want, Julie, and there are media from all over the nation here where I'm sitting, and there's a row of media here where there's satellite truck, news truck after news truck. They've even brought in special tents for people to gather. They can sit. There's porta potties. It is a county that is prepared for this trial starting today.
Oh, most definitely, Chanley. Tell me, we saw quite a bit of back and forth this morning, most of it focused on the questions that the prospective jurors are going to be asked in just a short time. But there are still some other big motions that are still hanging in the balance, right? Would you talk about some of those that are still left undecided by the court, please?
Absolutely, and great point to bring up because there are several outstanding motions in limine from both the prosecution and the defense the judge really hasn't solidified and made a ruling on just yet. And some big important ones, including the prosecution's motion to keep out the level of THC in Ahmaud Arbery's bloodstream at the time of the incident. They think that is irrelevant to this case. They also think it's irrelevant. They want to keep out the fact that he was on felony probation at the time that this incident happened. Of course, the defense wants both of those things in before this jury, saying it is very relevant to their affirmative defense of citizen's arrest and self-defense and what the defendants were thinking and feeling and observing at the time of the incident. Now, for the defense, there's a big motion that they want before this judge to rule on, and that is the vanity plate, the license plate on the front bumper of Travis McMichael's truck that we've all seen in this viral video. And it's an emblem, a Confederate battle emblem that was once on the Georgia state flag, and that was on the front of his license plate. And they don't want the jury to see that or know that and to make any improper conclusions about that or assume that maybe Ahmaud Arbery noticed that and was in fear, and that's why he ran. So the state says he put this license plate on the front of his truck for the world to see, so this jury should see it as well. So those are just a couple of the motions still pending that weren't taken up. Like you said earlier, motions were mostly about the questions for General voir dire to start and just making sure all the rules of the road for today and the next probably couple of weeks of jury selection are hammered down.
Exactly, Chanley. So the judge said court will be in recess until 1 p.m. Eastern time. At that point, tell us what we can expect, please, in terms of how this jury selection is going to go this afternoon.
Sure. So there will be groups of 20 prospective jurors. Now, the jury selection, it's different because of COVID-19 and social distancing protocols. There's 3 different locations for jury selection. Started earlier today down the road in a big gymnasium for all 600 or however many actually did show up this morning for jury selection. Then inside the courthouse behind me, there's 2 separate rooms. One a larger room for about groups of 20 prospective jurors will be in there for general jury selection, and those will be the questions the attorneys and the judge just hammered out in that morning meeting about what they'll be asked. And then if they make it past that round, Julie, they go to a third area where it'll be individual sequestered voir dire, where the attorneys really hope to engage in a lot of those personal questions, and they hope to bring out maybe some biases or prejudice of potential jurors that may prevent them from sitting as a fair and impartial juror. And this is all on the heels of about 1,000, that's 1 in 85 residents here in Glynn County, receiving a 3-page questionnaire that these attorneys, will have in their hands as a reference point moving forward through this process.
Well, this is going to be really something. We know that it's going to be a tedious process and take quite some time. Shanley, tell me, you're outside, of the courthouse area and certainly noticing the stories happening outside of the courthouse. We saw that live press conference just a short time ago when you and I started talking. What's been the feel since you arrived there in Brunswick from the people you're speaking to and kind of the vibe there, both in and outside of that courthouse?
This is a much anticipated day. It's a much anticipated trial for the community here that's been living this case ever since the McMichaels basically were arrested in May of 2020. So for a little bit over a year and a half almost, this community has been gearing up for what this trial would mean. And it's interesting here because they are having this case in the county where the alleged crime took place. And so the community has really come together to try to make sure all of the safety precautions are in place, that people are able to come here from all over the nation to Brunswick, Georgia, to express their First Amendment rights, to gather, to have demonstrations, to show support for Ahmaud Arbery's family, and to do so in a way that is safe. And of course, media all over. That's really the vibe, especially downtown here in Brunswick. This is actually from yesterday. There was a march of a couple of hundred people from the Transformative Justice Coalition that gathered, and they marched several blocks to a big mural, beautiful mural of Ahmaud Arbery located here in downtown. The family there of Ahmaud Arbery was a part of that and spoke as well. But this is the group that has brought in demonstrators from New York, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Louisville, Kentucky, all over the United States to be here for this week to make a show of force and support for the Arbery family.
No doubt this case has garnered national attention. Shanley, thank you so much for all of your reporting. We'll talk with you a little later in the broadcast.